Welcome back, guys. We're here for another round of your Mobility Minute. This week, we're gonna focus in on the shoulders again. So, a lot of gymnastic demands going on, especially with the pulling. So we're gonna focus in on our ability to really pull our shoulder blades back. This is gonna help us with things like pull-ups, muscle-ups, especially something like a chest to bar pull-up in which we want to make contact with the bar. To do that, we gotta have a really exceptional ability to pull our shoulder blades back and kind of stick our chest out. That's called scapular retraction. So our ability to pull our shoulder blades back behind us. So we're gonna focus on that today. The only thing you're gonna need is a little bit of wall space, a lacrosse ball, and probably a mat. When we do we're gonna start with some soft tissue work, of course. When we do that, I'm gonna do it against the rig. You can replicate that in a door frame. You can also just do it against the wall. We're just gonna really focus on opening up the chest before we get into that kind of big scapular retraction movement. So, if you're ready, let's get started. Starting with the soft tissue work, we're gonna open up the chest, right? Pecs, pectoralis major, pectoralis minor. These are really strong muscles that wanna pull the shoulders forward, right? Give us that kind of rounded position. If they don't lengthen out, if we can't get this to open up, we're never gonna be able to get our shoulder blades back, right? To do something like a chest to bar. Also, it's really important for posture, right? So if you're in this posture a lot, and work on a computer or whatever, and you struggle to really open your chest, probably wanna do some soft tissue work on the pecs and get some good stretching through the chest before you do chest to bars, anything like that. So we're gonna do some soft tissue work. I'm gonna do it on the rig. Now, if you don't have a rig, you can do this in a door frame. You can also do this against the wall. You can also do it on the floor. It's all the same stuff. I just like having the rig or being in a door frame so I can stand and control how much pressure I have. And additionally, I have more freedom to move my arm. So I'm gonna take the ball and I'm gonna pin it between me and the post. So I'm gonna start sternum and then work my way out towards the shoulder. And like I said, I control how much pressure, so if I lean more into it, that's obviously more pressure. And I'm just gonna search for those sticky spots. I'm gonna go up and down, kind of close to my sternum. And once I find a good spot, I'm just gonna take the arm out and around. So I'm just going out to the side and up overhead. And you'll feel the tissue moving under that pressure. That's what you want. We're trying to make that tissue more compliant. And then you just get a few reps and then move it to a new location, find a new tender spot. You'll move out towards the shoulder. As you come out towards the shoulder, we're getting closer to pec minor, right? So a deeper muscle, it's smaller, it's still short and tight for most people. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn to the side a little bit. So the ball is kind of pressing in towards my body this way. And I'm still gonna move my arm in the same way. I especially wanna make sure I start getting overhead. That's gonna force that pec minor to lengthen out because that scapula goes into upward rotation. So just taking that arm up overhead. It doesn't feel good, but it is very good for you. It's kind of that good hurt. And again, we're just trying to soften this up, make this tissue a little more compliant to both pressure and stretching. Once I've had enough, we'll go ahead and switch sides. Same thing, starting at the sternum and then working the way out. So I'm gonna start by facing the post and go up and down. Find those tender spots and then move that arm around. The money is really made when the arm is moving. That's gonna force that tissue to mobilize. It's gonna force it to slide and glide. The layers of the muscle tissue are gonna slide and glide over each other. And I'm layering in some compression just to create a little more shear stress. That's just gonna mobilize that tissue better, make it a little bit softer. Again, it doesn't feel very good. You also wanna make sure to get up under the collarbone. Right, that's the clavicular head of the pec, and that is often pretty tight for people, especially if you're a CrossFitter and we do a lot of pressing overhead. That clavicular head of the pec can get really short and tight with a lot of overhead pressing. As you move out to the side, we're gonna turn a little bit, and we'll try to get to that pec minor. You want to make sure you're really breaking 90 degrees and taking that arm overhead. You'll probably feel pec minor kind of roll over. It's a very stringy muscle. And like I said, for most people, it's pretty short and tight. So getting in there and softening it up a little bit can really help. Ooh, sticky. Get a few rolls. For me, this area right here is a little tense, a little tight, a little sensitive. I'm gonna stay here and roll a little bit more, but you guys are gonna go ahead and make your way to a wall. We'll get a little bit of wall space and we'll do our T-spine mobilization before we get into our strengthening work today. So I'll meet you over there. All right, now that we have opened up the chest a little bit, we're gonna go through some T-spine mobilization just to kind of get us a little more prepped for our shoulder work that we're gonna do on the floor. If you have a cranky shoulder that just won't seem to get better, check your T-spine. Do a little more T-spine mobility drills, right? Because our T-spine sets our shoulder blades up to be in a good position, especially with extension and rotation. So if we don't have that ability to really extend and rotate to the T-spine, we're not gonna be able to put our shoulder blades in a good position to support the arm with overhead stuff or even pulling stuff. So we're gonna go through some T-spine stuff first, and then we'll get down to the floor and work on our retraction strength. So if you have a yoga block, we'll use it. It's just a tactile cue to keep your pelvis stable when you're doing your T-spine moves. So this hip is gonna go against the wall, and then I'm gonna pin the block to the wall with my knee. Again, if you don't have a yoga block, it's okay. Just try not to let the front knee move and try not to let the hips swivel. Keep this hip in contact with the wall on this side, and then keep this knee where it's at. Try not to move it at all. We're gonna interlock our fingers, put our hands behind our head, and we're really gonna try to point our elbows to the side. Now, the wall is lava in terms of the elbows. Try not to let your elbows touch the wall. What we're gonna do is we're gonna extend, get a little bit of lateral rotation, lateral flexion, and then we're gonna turn and face the wall. And then come back. So you're not letting your elbows touch the wall, and you're trying to move more through your spine rather than changing your elbow position. So don't let your elbows come in, keep them out to the side. Force that spine through that motion to get you to turn and face the wall. And then we'll bring it back. We'll get about 3 more, nice and slow. These are very difficult, especially if you do them right. This side is my bad side. It is kind of hard for me to face the wall. When you're facing the wall, make sure you're not swiveling at your hips. And then also, when you're not facing the wall, make sure you're not hinging, right? So sit upright. We'll get 2 more here. When you're here, keep that hip against the wall, try to face the wall, and then bring it back. Nice and slow, 1 more. Face the wall, rotate through your spine. You should feel like you're wringing it out. And then back. Feel free to get a few more of those, but I'm gonna go ahead and switch sides. All right, same thing on this side. This hip against the wall, yoga block if you have it. Pin it between the wall and your knee. We're gonna interlock the fingers, put them behind our head. Point those elbows out to the side. Now take your time here. You wanna move through the spine. Try not to touch the wall with the elbows, and keep those elbows pointed out to the side. Turn all the way, try to face the wall without moving your hips. That's the hard part. You're gonna wanna swivel these hips, pull it off the wall. Try not to. Try to keep that hip pinned against the wall. Get yourself to face the wall and then come back. We'll get about 3 more. Also, don't let your elbows get closer to your face. You want to keep them away from your face as much as possible. So don't let them close in, and then try to avoid that lean. We're going to get 2 more. Nice and tall. Rotation, lateral flexion. So we can face. Oh, goodness. Facing it is the hard part. This way is easy peasy. 1 more. So we're going this way, it gets hard. And bring it back. Woo! All right, you can ditch your yoga block. And we're gonna go down to the floor. So just need a little bit of floor space, probably a mat. You're gonna be laying face down. All right, our strengthening work today, a little bit of floor work. We're gonna be face down. We're gonna do 3 sets of a bat wing hold. We've done these in warm up, we've done these in class. These are hard. And the sole focus is really squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening up through the chest, and forcing those muscles on the backside to pull those scapulas back and really get us into that retraction. So you're gonna go face down. And once you're there, you're gonna put your fist by your side. Now I want you to try to get them as close as you can without flaring your elbows. This is no good, no bueno. We want elbows up to the ceiling. So if you've got to get your fist a little bit wider, that's okay. Rest of us, we're gonna try to bring it in close. Now from here, I'm gonna pull my knuckles off of the floor, keeping my elbows pointed to the ceiling. I'm gonna do that by squeezing my shoulder blades together. So I wanna squeeze my shoulder blades together and then lift. We're gonna hold for about 15 seconds. You should feel like you're squeezing the backside of your arm and like you're pressing your elbows together. So don't let them flare out that way. That's a little bit of a cheat. We wanna really force the retractors to work. Good, relax. You can shake it out. You should feel this on the backside of the shoulder and then between the shoulder blades. Let's get set up. We're gonna do it again. Ready, set, go. You should feel like your whole back is contracting. It's almost like a Superman. Good, relax. But I'm really focusing on squeezing my shoulder blades together. Feel free to do this a little bit longer if you have the stamina of those scapular retractors, those muscles on the backside. We'll go ahead and get one more. We'll try to lengthen this one out a little bit. Ready, set, go. Notice my knuckles don't come off the floor too far, right? They're just kind of hovering. Really focus on squeezing those shoulder blades together, open up through the chest. Make sure your shoulders are not up in your ears either. Pull them down and back. Keep squeezing, we're almost there. You're gonna feel the backside of your arms start to light on fire. I'm starting to shake. Let's try to get 10 more seconds. Keep squeezing. 3, 2, 1. Ugh. I'm sweating. Woo! Get a few scapular rolls. See how that feels. That's all I've got for you guys today. Quick shoulder routine. Just a little soft tissue work on the chest, some T-spine mobility, and then working to strengthen those scapular retractors. But this is a great way to prep for pull-ups, muscle-ups, any kind of gymnastics work, and where we gotta pull our arms behind us. So that's it. I'll see you again next week. We'll probably go back to the lower body. So see you next week.